Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. For those of you who view my videos regularly, heard me say that NATO will eventually escalate by bringing troops, deploy active troops in Ukraine under an euphemistic name, which could be love-making troops, peace, universal troops, things like this, like people who would keep peace. So I don't know, something humanitarian that these baboons, some baboons of a special stripe, will feel, all empathetic about it. Yeah, we should do that, keep peace over there, and for humanitarian reasons in Ukraine. They would do this. Well, that's exactly what I talk about it right now. And I also said many times that probably at one point NATO will, with no authority, declare no-flight zone over Ukraine. Remember when that happened in Libya and what happened to the Gaddafi because of that? Yeah, he got killed. By whom? By his own people, we're told. I don't believe that a shit. Yeah, he got shot by a pistol, but who was holding the pistol? The same over there. Yeah, by his own people. If you want to really know how that happened, listen to the bad dude Putin. He explains to you in one of his videos when he was interviewed what happened. And that was, I think, when he visited Germany or Netherlands. At that time, he said how that happened. I will tell you. But in the meantime, let me show you how NATO plans. They're British again, the Brits. The British are talking about let's deploy some expeditionary corps. They will become corps in Ukraine, and maybe institute of a no-flight zone over Ukraine because they can. What does that mean? As I said, you remember the mountain slope theory that I have? They go slowly and they go eventually here. That decision has been made many months or maybe years, even when the war started, in case the Russians are doing this. Eventually we're going to do this. We're going to end up with being involved in it directly for humanitarian reasons and, stop the carnage over there. But in the Middle East, let's look somewhere else, okay? And no-flight zone. A no-flight zone means that we will shoot down the Russians' plane that fly over the no-flight zone that we determine that it must be done because we are in charge. Not. So let me show you this article coming from Sputnik. It is from 7 hours ago, today, on Sunday, February 4th, 2024. Possible NATO corps deployment to Ukraine may become suicide mission for those troops. Now they will fight as the Ukrainians fight. That's what's going to happen. Probably they're already there, but we're not told about that. I would not be surprised whatsoever. Fighting as volunteers, or maybe just, trainers or advisors, military advisors, or inspectors for the gun control. You see, if the weapons that we send over there, they're managed correctly and legally, and blah, blah, blah. Don't think what they do? Well, why don't you look at the Vietnam War and even in how do you call it? Vietnam War is the best example. So number 10's ostensible idea of sending NATO troops to Ukraine has nothing to do with reality, experts told Sputnik. Well, now, this is going to happen. I'm 98% certain of that, if the war doesn't stop by then. The UK has urged its NATO allies, who's in charge of UK's defense ministry? Yes, exactly. Grant Shapps. You know Grant Shapps? Yeah, he's a Zelensky's time. Zelensky is what? Okay. He urged its NATO allies to consider sending the alliance's expeditionary force to Ukraine. An informed source told Sputnik. Always, be skeptical when you see an informed source, a source familiar with the issue, or unnamed, or things like this. No. Anonymous. According to the source, okay, it's my cousin, okay. Hey, my cousin told me this, and he's got the information from another cousin and from another cousin and from another cousin. Trust me. Why can't we use the same garbage? Like right now, I would tell you, like I know someone on YouTube does that almost every time. We know that our sources told us this, but that person and many others never reveal the sources. Well, confidential. Under the confidentiality garbage, you can say whatever you want. You can claim whatever you want. Right now I say, well, it's not true. I think Putin flew to Kiev and spoke to Zelensky. And you say, how do you know that? My sources, confidential, in the U.S. Department told me, the Kremlin told me. You say, really? How can you verify? I can't tell you. I mean, I can uncover my source, can I? So I can say what the fuck ever I want, and you guys are, wow, look at Emil, man. But somehow these guys, do you think that media has really all those sources? They have some, because people come out and tell them, but sometimes it's the source. That alleged move came, and I'm quoting, in connection with the unfavorable developments in Ukrainian theater of military operations for Kiev. The insider, the source is the insider, added that Britain also called on NATO to consider imposing a no-fly zone over the territory controlled by Zelensky regime and to increase military aid to Ukraine. That means if the Russians send a missile, violates the no-fly zone, the Americans, the whomever, supposedly are going to down those. So that means they get us directly involved. I think we are already indirectly involved by definition. And the example, you fight your neighbor and you got another neighbor giving your neighbor that you fight lethal weapons to kill your family. What would you do? Would you consider the third neighbor as being, or the other guy over there being actively involved against you? I would definitely. And I would tell him straight up, if you send a bullet over there to these guys to be able to shoot me, I will fuck you up. That's what I would say. And I would follow through with that one. You can just draw a line in the sand and then say, you know what, if you cross that one, we're going to fuck you up. And then and you say, you're a weasel then. The UK reported plans, let me show you. The UK's reported plans about deploying NATO's expeditionary corps to Ukraine is a fantastical delusion on the part of the Brits and has no foundation in reality. Retired CIA intelligence officer and State Department official Larry Johnson told Sputnik. Why? Why is a fantastical delusion? They will send it and that's it. They're going to fight. They will send it. They are over there, I think anyway, on the part of Brits and has no foundation in reality. The plans maybe has no foundation, but that means you have sources that we don't. But let's move on. But just because the Brits are insane does not mean Russia can ignore them. True, it is a serious proposal, he added. Correct. Johnson was partly echoed by Matthew Gordon Banks, an international relations consultant, former member of parliament, and retired senior research fellow at the UK Defence Academy, who said he didn't think the rumors of a NATO force in Ukraine should be taken seriously. In this kind of situation, I think you take seriously if they tell you that they're going to send some locusts over. And I'm quoting, the suggestions I have heard are quite unrealistic at present, keyword. So that means an unrealistic at present. They should not be realistic ever at present. The present is right now. You don't know what's happening tomorrow. So you see, this guy is a weasel, I think, because he said at present. How about a week? Because, you know what? I'm not going to beat you out at present. Punk. Hey, you beat me. You said, no, I said at present. That was a second before I punched in the face. That was the present when I made a statement. But then the next second was the future of that present. So I didn't lie at all. And right now, punk. Again, that's the future of the present when I made a statement. So the same. When you hear these guys, why we have no intention of deploying U.S. military in Ukraine for now. That changes everything. You bother to say something. That means for now, at present. So asked to comment on the unfavorable deployment of events for Kiev on the battlefield, he emphasized that, and I'm quoting, things are collapsing in Kiev quite quickly. That is true. That's the same conclusion I reached a long time ago, but I think right now is exponentially greater. And I'm quoting you. Zelensky has not been able to fire his top general, and I think he is now very much a lame duck president, even after Vicky came over there. Nuland. All right. Gordon Banks argued, referring to the commander-in-chief of Ukraine's armed forces, Valery Zaluzny. The same tone was struck by Earl Rasmussen, a retired U.S. Army lieutenant colonel turned geopolitical and military affairs consultant, who warned that if the information about London's plans is true, and I'm quoting, if this is somebody's dream, it could quickly become a nightmare for British and NATO forces. And for the Russians, I mean, to be honest, do you think those guys are going to do only push-ups over there? They're going to be actively involved in fighting. I mean, you can't discard them as being garbage. I mean, they're fighters after all. They're military. They're trained. So you bring more people. That's not, bring them on. We love it. It's like you fight 3 people versus in the same time instead of fighting 4 people in the same time, or 5. It's going to be a nightmare for those 2 that come in. I don't think so. It's going to be even going to be worse for you, obviously. I mean, it's logical, but Earl Rasmussen said that, and I'm quoting. But it is not a realistic solution or proposal. Russia has complete air dominance. I don't think so. Escalatory dominance, logistical dominance, ammunition dominance. This would be catastrophic for any UK forces and definitely would show a symbol of direct NATO involvement, which could really be dangerous as far as escalation goes. I don't think so. Rasmussen emphasized not noting that, and I'm quoting, the British forces would probably be wiped out fairly rapidly. I disagree with that. The US Army veteran suggested that someone in the UK military might be having some type of delusional experience for even suggesting such a scenario. It's a suicide mission for those troops. I don't think so. And it definitely would pull NATO into a much more dangerous situation and direct confrontation with Russia. Rasmussen conducted. What the hell are you talking about? If there's no confrontation right now, when you gave those guys, you're going to give them supposedly F-16s, you gave them tanks, you gave them armored vehicles, you gave them HIMARS, you gave them Patriot, you monitor things, you have access to the... You're telling me that this is not involvement? You're 99% involved in this. This is the only thing you don't have. Legal troops saying, yeah, we sent them over there, we're going to defend Ukraine. That's all you didn't. That's all you don't have. I'm not talking about nuclear missiles or anything like that. What are you talking about? I mean, it's right there. I'm not talking about the intensity, like you send 3 million people or 100,000. I'm talking the fact that you're going to send troops. So again, a delusional experience, we're going to wipe them out. I don't think so. If you would think like that, then the Soviets in the Second World War, when the the Wehrmacht was advancing eastward towards Moscow, if they would have thought the same way, well, we shouldn't do it anyway because the Wehrmacht will eliminate the Soviets. I don't want to say the Russians because it was not the Russians, but it was a common, effort over there in Soviet Union. So these guys incorrectly use it. They use Russia as Soviet Union when it's bad, but when it's good, they just use Soviet Union. That's what these guys do. So I don't think these guys say are really, they will be really, I don't want to say objective analysts. I don't want to go that far. They have their own knowledge and interpretation of whatever they see. But I disagree that those will be eliminated. Let's say the Americans send over there, I don't know, 20 Patriot systems, 500 HIMARS. They send 1,000 planes, if they have them, and about 2,000 tanks. And they send 2 million people to fight. Do you think those guys would be is it delusional and they will be wiped out? I don't think so. So you see, it matters. It matters how many. You say expeditionary corps. How many? Yeah, and if that would be the case, that means the Russians should be galloping towards Kiev, and they're not yet. Well, we're going to find out. We'll see. But no surprise here if when these guys will really say, well, we decided to send some. And do you think there's going to be an escalation? The escalation was the minute those guys, NATO countries, sent the first bullet to Ukraine. That was the enough escalation for me to threaten all those guys over there. That's it. All or nothing. I'm not saying I'm going to just, let's do it. I mean, let's don't play weasels here. But that's a different mentality than the one, oh, that I'm going to escalate, I'm going to hit you back, I'm going to... It worked so far. The Russians are fighting with 5%, I think, from their manpower potential. I mean, what? 600,000-700,000 people versus 30 million that they could potentially mobilize in a general mobilization. That's not even 5%. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.